when I began to really trust myself and believe in what I do, my work became very sacred to me. Whether it's my speaking, my writing, everything I offer is, to me, it's very sacred. And it felt wrong to charge money for it. On the one hand, it's like, this is such a good thing, I don't want to make people pay for it. On the other hand, so the proper price is $0. On the other hand, though, any amount I charged was too little. Any amount that I charged, to equate something sacred with something finite is imbalanced. So any amount is both too much and too little. And I resolved that eventually but it felt okay to receive money. So the way I resolved this dilemma is I give my work as a gift and I'm open to receive. And I want to receive based on people's gratitude. So I've been giving these retreats and seminars and things, and only charging room and board for the retreat, enough to, and sometimes airplane ticket, just enough. So basically we're all co-creators of this event, but I'm not charging anything beyond that. I'm offering as a gift also. So then, and at the end of the event, I will invite people to give if they want to, based on gratitude. And this is very tricky these days because we're so out of touch with this whole idea of living in the gift that some people are just like immediately like, okay, I knew it all along. There's some way to get my money. And so I say, if there's any of that energy, please don't give me anything, because the gift carries a spirit with it, and I don't want that energy in my life. So, or perhaps someone might, if there is that energy there, but they still feel gratitude at the same time. I mean, it gets really complicated, but I could say, well, then give it forward, pay it forward, and act from that gratitude. But usually gratitude will guide the flow of gifts. And when you give the right gift, just like at a wedding, you feel the sense of lightness and clarity. It feels right. If you give too big a gift, that's awkward. And if you give too small a gift, you feel stingy, but there's just the right gift. So that's what I try to encourage people to do in this work. And, I probably do as well as I would do if I charged money for it. But it has to be sincere. If there's any judgment about, that person only paid $50 and that's really ridiculous for a 3-day retreat, and what's going on with them? And if there's any kind of judgment or resentment, then that is a message to me saying, you weren't really giving to begin with. There was a string attached. And people are very sensitive to that. So I'm kind of offering a new business model, which works especially for people whose work is sacred to them: healers, teachers, musicians, artists. And the business model is you give and receive after the gift is already gone. And the reception might have to come a while later when the person's fully digested the gift and can act from gratitude. Or sometimes right away the person will have some premonition. These things are quite mysterious. But it's a different business model. And you can even use it for nuts and bolts businesses. You could say, here are my costs. And so, the cost of this plumbing job, was this amount of equipment, here's the materials, the fuel in my truck that got me here, the apportioned part of my insurance and capital costs. And so, $150, that's what you would pay for me to make no money. So I ask that you pay $150. And if you would like to pay more, if gratitude moves you to pay more, then I will be grateful to receive that. So it's a different business model. It's really important. I don't use free. It's important because we're so unused to this. It's important to really deliberately context it. It almost has to be part of the seminar itself. It's especially if the seminar is about the gift, Okay, here's a hands-on real life exercise. You can't just kind of brush it off, and let it slide, because then there's all of these complex issues that people have around giving and receiving that don't have a clearing in which to be processed. And so you get all kinds of, shadow stuff going on under the surface, and chances are it's not going to be viable. Yeah, that's been my experience. People are not only afraid to give, they're also afraid to receive. We're afraid to receive because that kind of puts us under obligation, and we don't want to be obligated. We want to be, independent, and don't want to owe anybody anything. What we're really rejecting, though, is community when we do that. And in ancient times, to refuse a gift was a mortal insult, because it's basically saying, I don't want to be part of your circle of self. I don't want to be part of your community. I will stay an outsider, and therefore I'm your enemy, because if you're not in a gift network with somebody, then more for you is no longer more for me. In a gift society, your good fortune is my good fortune, because if you have more than you need, you're going to give it to somebody else, maybe to me directly, or maybe to somebody who gives it to somebody who gives it to somebody who gives it to me, and it's going to come and meet my needs. So we're bound together in a circle of self. My self-interest and your self-interest are not distinct, which is why the ancient Hebrews, the laws against usury were that you were not supposed to lend money at usury to someone outside the tribe. To somebody inside the tribe. You could lend it to an outsider, but not to an insider. The decaying currency recreates this if I have more than I need kind of dynamic. If I have more than I need, I'm going to give it either directly or give the use of money to somebody else, which is called a loan. It's the gift of the use of money would be a loan.